5 steps to build an SEO team from scratch and convince your stakeholders that SEO isn't black magic. With Bueno Tabernero. The In Search SEO podcast is brought to you by Rank Ranger, the all-in-one SEO platform that helps scale your business through data and analytics. Hey, it's David. Have you ever struggled to bring senior business stakeholders with you on your SEO journey? That's what we're going to be discussing today with a man who, after 7 years in general SEO, now specialises in App Store optimization. In his last role, he built an SEO team from scratch, plus got all the senior stakeholders on board with him. He's the founder of SEO Londoners, an SEO community for Spanish speakers living in the UK, and offers his expertise as a consultant over at luisbuenoseo.com. A warm welcome to the In Search SEO podcast, Luis Bueno Tabernero.
Hello, David.
Hey, Luis. Thanks so much for joining us. I said as part of the intro that you moved from more general SEO into ASO, App Store optimization. So why did you do that?
I know it's a bit of, well, it's not such a weird move because actually in ASO there's not so many people as in SEO. But basically, one of my previous role at a company called Photobox, I started to jump into ASO. And to me, ASO is a bit like how SEO was like 5-6 years ago. Everyone is starting to that. People are really moving to mobile. We know that in SEO too. But there are like more people interested. Both Google Play and iOS are starting to build new functionalities and new features. And I think it's an interesting field to jump into now and to be kind of the early adopters, you could say, to try to be one of the first to specialize in that. But it's interesting too because it's constantly changing, same as SEO. So it has the same as what I was interested in SEO. It's not like abandon SEO. I still do my projects and other things, but I think ASO is part of the future. Everyone has a mobile now, and especially where I'm now in a gaming company, it's quite interesting how to do things in ASO.
Yeah, I've dabbled in ASO a little bit in the past, and obviously I've been involved in podcasting optimization as well, so optimization on Apple Podcasts, and to a certain degree that's ASO as well. And I know that from a podcasting perspective, it's a lot of it is optimizing your show title, your episode titles as well, and then trying to encourage people to download the episode within the first 24 hours. So a lot of initial download metrics. Is that kind of the same with ASO?
Yeah, to be honest, it's kind of similar. You have different fields you can target or you can optimize, right? From the basic metadata, so similar things you do in SEO, just finding the right keywords. The thing is, in SEO right now, Google is so clever. They look for semantic keywords, they look for relation. Right now they had a new update about quality content. ASO is not so well developed, so I would say it's a bit easier in that sense, but it has a lot more focus on conversion optimization with all the creative, something that probably in SEO you touch a bit with UX, and maybe you can do some conversion optimization too, but it's probably more for other specialists in the company. In ASO is for the ASO specialists to figure out the strategies, see where you put the message in the different screenshots or visuals. It's interesting. It's a kind of new field that keeps expanding and keeps evolving.
Yeah, that makes sense because if you're ranking high in the App Store and you're not converting, i.e. you're not getting people to download the app, then you can understand the various app platforms, if you want to call them that, deranking a particular app if it's not converting into downloads. Maybe we should park that particular conversation because that's a conversation in itself, and perhaps we can have a future discussion just solely about ASO. But today you're going to be covering the 5 steps to build an SEO team from scratch and convince your stakeholders that SEO isn't black magic. So starting off with number 1, build confidence.
Yeah, so all of these come from when I work as an SEO manager at Decathlon, and I guess that happens to many people. You arrive into a team or into a new role in SEO. That's usually because the stakeholders realized that organic was a huge part of the business, and they were super interested. But probably SEO wasn't taken care of in the past. So you start from not a great point. So in terms of build confidence, what it happened to me is that you start the job, and even if you've done the interview, and obviously your manager or the people who interview or the marketing director in that case know that you have the knowledge, there is going to be a lot of other people and a lot of other stakeholders you need to convince that you are a good fit for the role and you know what you are doing about. And there will be people who's maybe has some knowledge or work a bit before other SEO people, and there were others that maybe read some articles about basic SEO. So you really need to show them that you know what you are going to do and you know what you are going to get or you can offer to them, right? So one of the first things I try to do is to explain everybody that I talk to kind of the basic SEO presentation about what is SEO, what kind of are the three main pillars that I consider being content, technical, and link building. And maybe if you can give a few examples concretely about your company, like how you are doing in those three pillars, but at least for them have a bit of a basic training of what really SEO is, because some people heard about it, but not everyone really knows how it can affect the company. The other thing I think is interesting is to go to different team meetings and get to know them, but also show them how SEO can help them. I don't know, if you go to the brand department, show them some branded traffic, how is that affecting them, to different departments, and then try to see, okay, I can help you with that, or maybe with insights that you can get from SEO analysis. Then this always take a bit, but understand the situation of where you are as soon as possible to be able to explain to stakeholders, because they will have high expectations. But if you show them, okay, we are here, we didn't really took care of SEO for a while, or we haven't worked much on these certain areas, that's what we need to improve, and that is how long it's probably going to take to improve it. Then every SEO manager does, start creating an audit and a backlog of things that you can share with other teams to give them a better idea of where you are. And finally, have a report as soon as possible, because you jump into a new role or new company, they already have their weekly or monthly meetings. You are going to be there and you need to start commenting about the SEO result as soon as possible. So even if it's a bit of a basic report about maybe just the organic visits or simple data from Google Search Console, I try to build a report as soon as possible to start participating in those meetings and adding value to that.
Number one is to build confidence that you can assist other departments in your organization. Taking us up to number two, manage expectations.
Yeah, I guess that's the big problem. And my experience and talking to other SEO, that's probably where we lack a bit of background general in the SEO. We are usually very analytical people, very good people with data, with a spreadsheet, but compared to other professional or other departments, we don't usually have such a good skills in terms of managing people or convincing people, and that's key when you are heading or the head of SEO or an SEO manager, right? The main message that I took is to lower the expectation of how quickly SEO is going to give results, because there is the classic comparison with the performance marketing channels, right? That you put money in and you will have visitors straight away, just increasing the money you add in there. But SEO is not about that. It really takes time. So I found a good video that is actually coming from Google that it says SEO takes between 6 months to 1 year. So I put that message in all my presentations, especially at the beginning. It was great that it was said by Google, because when I say it doesn't sound as good as when you say, no, the source of this is Google. So that was the first message. Then the second one, it depends on your industry, right? But company as big as Decathlon was playing against big competitors. That's the other thing you need to compare in terms of the message. Like, the more competitors you have and the bigger they are, the higher the difficulties. If you know you haven't worked well SEO for a while, you can expect like quick results. You can expect some quick wins, but you need to be aware that there are other people that has been working SEO for a while and your competitors are doing a good job. Related to that is to say that SEO is a zero-sum game. So it's basically saying like, look, I'm probably good, or I'm expecting to be good at my job, but there are other SEO managers that are very good. And if they rank well, that means that I need to jump into the first position and move them. So they will be second, right? So it's kind of a constant fight against the knowledge and the strategies of other people, and also the resources of other people. And the last kind of trick is the strategy is to make sure when you do comparison, you do a right comparison. Because if you are a small business and you compare with a big one, you need to also show them that the amount of resources they have, the amount of employees they have, how big is their SEO department, how you can look at things like how many URLs they created, new URLs they created in the last month or in the last year compared to how many you can create. So when you do comparison, make sure that you do the right comparison, or at least give context to that comparison, because they will always have a list of competitors that they will show you and they will tell you how much the traffic is, but you need to make them understand that there is a context behind that.
Yeah, I love that idea of yours of getting third-party validation for how long SEO is going to take. So actually getting Google to say SEO could take a year here. And obviously everyone's heard of Google, so whatever Google say must be right. But it's good to have a big brand like that backing up what you're doing, manages expectations, as you say. And it actually reminded me of handling objections. Like good sales departments know how to handle customer objections, know what kind of objections customers are likely to share or prospects are likely to share along the path to perhaps becoming a customer, and to a certain degree training other departments internally is about understanding potential objections that they've got, which could be about misunderstanding what SEO is about, but also could be about the fact that it might take excess time up from them, and they might not want to be involved in SEO at all because they've got so much to do themselves. Again, a topic in itself. But number 3 is build the strategy.
Yeah, so not unfortunately, it's basically what they hire you for, but this usually comes too early in the time, because it takes time in every company, especially kind of a medium-sized, big company, to understand exactly how the company works, what are your opportunities, and really to understand other teams and other stakeholders and understand who is going to help you with. And that's important when you build a strategy, because as an SEO, you don't work by yourself. You need to trust in other people and trust in other resources, right? But still, the first thing the stakeholders will want to see is the strategy and the roadmap. So to build a strategy, I split my presentation or my document in different parts. The first one is to have a North Star goal, and it's the main goal you want to achieve. Obviously, you will have different projects and different goals inside, but I just use one, and it's usually about the traffic. So an example is, okay, we want to, and I use the SMART methodology, right? So be specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant, and time bound. So an example I used was, we want to achieve an increase of X amount percent, I don't remember how much, but like 10, 20 percent of non-branded clicks in the next 12 months. So then we can also, I think that's useful, because you can always refer to that during the year to understand how you are progressing, right? And that's also a good measure, even if you don't get it. Usually the North Star goal should be ambitious, so you don't get it, but it's something to move towards too, right? The next one is probably in your strategy, include again the message about it's going to take a bit to get the results, 6 months between 1 year. And the next one will be kind of a roadmap to see the different stages you are going to go to. Usually the first one will be an analysis, then see if there is any quick wins that you've identified and you can get as soon as possible to start giving results. And then you will jump into different projects, like what technically things or what projects in content you need to work on, what type of link building campaigns. That will be the more medium-term, long-term projects. And the next stage in the strategy will be to set the goals for each of the big projects. So I usually set between 4 or 5 main goals that you will review during the year too. And inside of each of the goals, you will set some KPI or some metrics to measure that goal. For example, one can be like, okay, we need to increase the non-branded traffic in a specific category because we know that's an important category for the business. How we are going to do that? Well, we will increase the number of blog-related articles. We will earn X amount of backlinks. We will review the metadata. We'll do that for all the 4 or 5 big projects of the company. And the last one, which I think is important, is again coming back to the idea that you don't work by yourself, is to reflect the dependencies and the blockers you have. So it's important for a stakeholder to understand that, okay, we need to change something technically. We need to have a developer to do that, or at least to collaborate with them. And that means that they will have their own backlog of roadmaps. So we need to be aware in terms of timings. And the same with content, or the same with PR and backlinks.
Of the North Star goal as well, because not only does it help stakeholders and help them understand, make SEO a little bit more simple, actually, just have the one common objective. I think it helps SEOs stay focused as well, because many SEOs like getting distracted by too much technology, and there are certain stakeholders that you don't want to get too technical with because you're going to turn them off. So that's a wonderful way of doing that. Taking us up to number 4, your resources.
Yeah, so once you kind of have an understanding of what are the projects, what you need to work on, the next thing is, what do I have to work with that? If you are alone, you need to start thinking about, okay, what are my resources and my tools? Apart from understanding what type of SEO tools you have, you need to ask yourself things like, okay, do I have an SEO agency that can do for me maybe more boring jobs, or more like things that will take my time from...
Repetitive.
Yeah, more repetitive, yeah. Or how the developers, what is the time I can use from the developers, and especially if they have some SEO in their goals, so in the important, because that means they will be more open to help you. And another good point is how much content I can produce, especially now with all the quality of the content, and in big e-commerce website where you need to review the content of your pages. That's kind of important. And finally, what is your team, and what do you need exactly? Because it may be that you have a brand team or some copywriters that can help you. Then you will need a specific copywriter for SEO, but it may be that you need more like a link builder for that, or something more specific in technically. Or for example, at Decathlon, they also work with the local SEO, so you will need a specialist on that.
Absolutely. So that was you finishing off with number 5, your team there. But let's move on to
the Pareto Pickle.
So Pareto says that you can get 80% of your results from 20% of your efforts. What's one SEO activity that you would recommend that provides incredible results for modest levels of effort?
I think that's a tricky question, SEO, because there is nothing that with just a little effort in SEO you get a lot. But I would say to just reviewing the content you have in your main category pages for an e-commerce, that usually give you results. Just making sure that content is optimized, making sure you answer user questions. I think that's relatively easy to do if you have some resources internally to write new content, and it will give you results.
I've been your host, David Bain. You can find Luis over at luisbuenoseo.com. Luis, thanks so much for being on the In Search SEO podcast.
Thank you, David.
And thank you for listening. Check out all the previous episodes and sign up for a free trial of the Rank Ranger platform over at rankranger.com.